Alright, so we are replacing the shifter in this 2002 BMW M3. We're replacing it with a race style shifter. This is the original shifter. It's nice, it illuminates at night. However, I'm looking for a shorter shift and something with a more positive feel. This one feels really rubbery, which is quite common for BMW factory shifters. So here is the new shifter I'll be putting in the M3. I got mine through VAC Motorsports, Hack Engineering, also a good crew to get yours from. So really nicely made, CNC machined, aluminium, nice and light. So VAC Motorsport also supplied a variable length rod which connects the shifter to the transmission. As you can see here, these are just put in the end and then they'll be welded around the edge once I get the length that I need. And they also come with a couple of little circlips just to hold them. Also, as part of changing out the shifter, I'm going to remove this armrest. It's really annoying. Under real hard braking it will sometimes fall down, but it is in the way of when I'm shifting gear. My elbow will bang on it and it gets in the way. So that will be removed. So we are now at a point where we can get under the car, get ready to remove the old shifter and see how we're going to mount up the new one. Okay, so sections 1 and 2 removed. We have the heat shielding now removed, which is really straightforward. And you can see up in here is our gearbox mounts and the gilbo for the drive shaft. So that needs to come out. So here we are, drive shaft removed. You can actually see the bottom of the shifter now. Here's the connecting rod that we're going to remove. I've just taken the little circlip off it, but you can see how much movement is in this. There's a lot. So when you're banging gears, this is what you got. It's doing the old shuffle. Hopefully the new shifter will tighten all that out, take out the slot. Okay, so up the top you've got a little pin. Here it is. I've removed it. You just get it sits in there like that. You get a screwdriver, just turn it up, push it out, and then that allows you to move this all the way out. That's where the pin sits in, and it's just connected to the top of the gearbox. And there we go. Right, so with everything removed, I can now test fit the shifter. As you can see, and as expected, it doesn't quite fit. There's an issue here with the lockout. It's not going to clear this part of the console. So I've removed the ashtray, but I am going to have to cut this through. Now, from what I've seen, everyone else has had to do the same. I expected that. That'll allow the shifter to be moved forward, which will put it in better alignment with the steering wheel. At the moment it's a little bit too far back for my liking. I want it to be right off the side here. As you can see, at the moment it's back here. So we'll take it forward another couple of inches, line it up with the steering wheel. Okay, so test fitting. As expected, I've had to cut out some of this console, and that will not allow this to sit down. I mean, it needs to go forward a little bit further still. It's not center of the hole, and so it's just going to look ugly. Most pictures I've seen, guys just leave these up. You can see where this just looks yuck where it's cut. So I am going to lower it. I am going to drop it down so this portion will sit level with this, and it will allow me to run this closed so it looks factory, and the gear stick surround will also be able to sit down nicely and everything will match up. So a fair bit of work to do. Going to have to remove it from the base, cut it up and lower it by about 10 mils. Fun and games. So on the left you have the original base for the shifter. That's what it came with. It sits on there. And here is the new base that I've just fabbed up. So you can see it sits quite a bit lower. It's just over 10 mils, about 12 mils lower, which should hopefully clear all the console in the car. Now to test fit. Here is the original linkage between the shifter and the transmission. Here is the one that I've cut to length and welded in, supplied by VAC Motorsports. You can see there's a slight difference in length. The reason being that my new shifter sits back a little bit. Also to note is that while the pins line up on this rod, you see those pins there, on the one that I've built I've had to put them out of phase a little bit. You can see there the difference. Alright, see that? Reason being is the original shift rod here, you can see, hopefully, you can see it's on a bit of an angle, so it comes down and then kinks out, and that's because the transmission linkage is also slightly kinked. So that's why you can have a straight original. But with the new one, the new shifter does not have this kink in it, therefore I've had to make the kink, build the kink into the shift rod. Yeah. So all installed with the plastics in place. It looks reasonably factory. Obviously the shifter looks heavy duty, but it looks nice and clean. It's a clean install. There's no ugly springs or anything showing. Everything's hidden. Looks good. Pretty happy with that. Now I need to reassemble the drive shaft, exhaust, etc. Button everything up and take it for a test drive. Reverse is very hard.